That's it from us. Have a very good night. Bye-bye.
Hello, I'm Nick Servini. Welcome to Wales Today. The headlines tonight. Big queues at the top of Snowdon this summer lead to warnings about the impact that increasing litter and erosion is having on the mountain. And rugby player Alex Evans died of a cardiac arrest after leaving the pitch. His friends call for improved safety equipment across all clubs. Good evening. It's not the kind of place you'd expect to wait 3/4 of an hour to take a selfie, but that's been the level of foot traffic at the summit of Snowdon this summer. Huge numbers of people staying in the UK for their holidays this year, on top of a general increase in recent years, have all contributed. But it's led to concerns about litter and footpaths being damaged. Brendan Williams reports.
Even on the highest point in England and Wales, you can't avoid the queues. This was filmed this month, and Snowdon, or Arwyddfa, is now busier than ever, with around 200,000 visitors more than there were 3 years ago. Staycations due to COVID are one reason for the rise, and there are concerns about the impact on the mountain.
Litter, footpath erosion, wild camping, traffic parking. In a sense, none of these are new, but they've all acquired a really sharp edge in the last 18 months.
At a busy Pennapass car park this afternoon, those returning from the summit again reported queues.
We didn't queue for the summit bit because it was crazy.
We queued for 40 minutes. And when we came down, there were more queued up behind us.
You'd spend 4 to 5 hours climbing it, and you don't want to wait around for an hour because you still got to get back down at the end of the day.
More visitors often means more accidents. Mountain rescuers have seen a rise in the number of call-outs this summer. Despite repeated warnings, many walkers are still underprepared.
Everybody's allowed to go up the mountain. You know, you can't stop anybody. But you can see they're not used to walking the mountain with clothing they've got on and things. You know, some comes like, I've seen a few, you won't believe this, flip-flops and things, you know. And you give them advice and they don't want to know either.
Snowdonia National Park Authority has produced a film which it hopes will help visitors and encourage them to explore the region's other paths. With 2 weeks of the summer holidays left, the message is come and enjoy Snowdon, but please respect the mountain.
Brendan Williams reporting there. Schools in Wales will be given just over a fortnight after the start of the new autumn term to adopt new COVID safety guidelines. Under the plans, individual schools are being given more power to decide rules on social distancing, face masks and testing within a national framework. The Welsh Government says the changes are designed to avoid disproportionate numbers of pupils self-isolating. The latest coronavirus figures, which cover a 2-day period, show there were 2 deaths of people with COVID, and there are 3,247 new cases. Turning to vaccinations, and more than 2.3 million people have received a first dose, which is equivalent to 73% of the Welsh population. More than 2.1 million have received the full course, which is equivalent to 68%. Rhondda Cynon Council is reviewing its transgender guidance after teachers began calling a trans pupil by a girl's name without speaking to the parents first. The lawyer for the parents says they told the school that their child should be allowed to have therapy before such a change was made. The guidance says schools can empower trans pupils by letting their appearance match their gender identity. The council now says it's considering how that might be improved. A rugby club in the Swansea Valley says it wants to work with the WRU and other sports bodies to ensure every club has a defibrillator on the side of the pitch. 31-year-old Alex Evans died after suffering a cardiac arrest during a match on Saturday in the village of Cwm Llynfell. Despite efforts to revive him using a defibrillator, it wasn't enough to save him. Ben Price reports.
A popular man who had an infectious smile, one of thousands of tributes to Alex Evans, who died suddenly during a rugby match at the weekend. Mr. Evans left the pitch feeling unwell. His health worsened, and despite efforts to revive him with a defibrillator, sadly it wasn't enough. Now his club says they want to work with the WRU to ensure defibrillators are placed pitch side everywhere.
My next step would be to speak to our district representatives about the way going forward of trying to ensure that every sports club has got a defibrillator on site.
Mr Evans, who was 31, played flanker. The match at the weekend against Crynant was in memory of another club stalwart who had died of COVID. It's understood that Alex Evans suffered a cardiac arrest here on Saturday. According to official data, around 6,000 people in Wales suffer a cardiac arrest outside of a hospital setting every year, and Wales has one of the lowest survival rates in Europe of this type of incident. One charity which campaigns to get defibrillators at locations across the country says it's already done some work with the Welsh Rugby Union to get defibrillators into 140 clubs. It's also calling on the Welsh Government to set up free heart screening for people who play sports.
Cardiac arrest, people think, oh, it happens to somebody, you know, in their 70s, 80s, but no, it's happening too many times now, and we've got to do something about it.
Last month, the Welsh Government announced it's investing more than £2 million over the next 3 years to educate people on cardiac arrests and to provide training around CPR and the use of defibrillators. For the family and friends of Alex Evans, this is the most difficult of times. His rugby club hopes to be able to do something in his honour to help others in future.
Ben Price there. Right, it's time for a quick look at the weather. Here's Sabrina with the latest.
Hello there. A lot of dry weather in the forecast for the week ahead as high pressure remains in charge. No significant rain in the forecast until later next week. And the main changes you're going to see day to day is the variable amounts of cloud. So here's the high pressure then moving in a clockwise fashion, and some of the northeasterly areas going to reach us in the form of some moist low cloud. So at times it's going to feel quite dull. So through the rest of tonight then we're going to see quite a lot of clear skies across the country. We'll tend to see some low cloud nudge into border counties towards the end of the night. A few mist or fog patches developing too. These are the temperatures in towns and cities, but they'll be a little lower in parts of the countryside. Tomorrow, a bright start for many, but then cloud is going to filter in from the northeast. A little drizzle possible under the thicker cloud, and the cloud will tend to linger for the longest over parts of Powys, Wrexham, Flintshire, Denbighshire, with the best of the bright or sunny spells in parts of the west and also the far south. Now across the rest of the UK, the same cloud effect in Wales will also affect northern England and the Midlands. It all drifts in from the North Sea. To the top and tail of the country, that's where we're going to see the best of the dry and bright conditions. It's going to be the central belt of Scotland that is expected to see the highest temperatures through tomorrow. Now on Wednesday, it's going to be generally quite a cloudy affair across the country, but as the day wears on, we should see more in the way of some widespread brightness developing. For parts of Gwynedd, we could see a high of around 24 Celsius if there is enough sunshine. Looking further ahead then, not too much of a change. High pressure still with us, so no significant rain in the forecast. Some sunny spells, warm if you do catch any afternoon sunshine. And that's your forecast. Good night.
And that is Wales Today. We'll be back throughout breakfast tomorrow morning from 6:25. Until then, thanks for watching. Have a great night.